shell scripts. A shell scripts is nothing but just a text file which contains shell commands or whatever other commands that is going to be executed. Shell scripts is very important, especially if you are using HPC to run your calculation. And then your shell script will be a job that you would like to run. So basically, it contains the commands or the calculations you would like to run. So everything in a line begin with this hash sign. This is a comment, and it will not be executed. And the only exception is this hash bound line, usually the first line, which begins with a hash and then exclamation and then being bash. This specifies the so-called interpreter for this script. An interpreter is a program that will be used to execute this shell script. In this case, this is the /bin/bash. So you will use bash to execute this script. For this shell script, you can give it an extension, for example, .sh, but this is not really strictly required. Like previously in the first sessions mentioned by Alex, the extension of a file on Linux does not really play a role. So it's just, let's say, an indication that, for example, here, this is a shell script .sh. And regarding to the shell script, so basically it's a complete programming language, but no worries if you do not have any prior experience with programming. It's very easy to program shell. So basically here is a hello world example. You first give the hash bound line, the interpreter to be used for run this shell script, and then you use echo, so basically to print, and then print hello, and then you can also use the, let's say, variables or environmental variables or even command line arguments. For example, $0. This is the name of your shell script. I'm going to talk about this to clarify everything later on. So basically, shell scripting is a very convenient programming language that you can use to, let's say, make your work very productive and to make your calculation run automatically. Before we talk about more topics, so how to define a variable. This is like many other programming languages. You just specify the variable, for example, here animal, and then give value to this variable. For example, here the value is horse. And then you defined a variable with a variable name animal and with the variable value with the value horse. And then you can use those variables, for example, by prefix $, in front of this the name of this variable, and then use echo to print it out. And then you will see that horse will be printed out to your monitor. And this variable is only valid for your current session or in your current bash script, which means if you, let's say, log out from the front-end node and log in again, and then maybe this defined variable is no longer available for you. And you can also define the so-called environment variables, and then to set it outside of bash script through the command export. So use command export to define an environment variable like this: export vehicle equals truck, and then this environment variable or vehicle becomes available to all the bash script you are going to run, and also for your current session. And then you can also list all the existing environment variables by using the command env. So this is a short for environmental variables. Like many other programming languages, you can also have conditions like, for example, if conditions. You can put if, and then put the condition here. Here, it's very easy to understand. This compares the value of the variable animal to make a test if this value is equal to tiger. Here it's a single equal sign. This works. And then if this condition is true, you will see that a tiger is dangerous. So this is a single condition. You can have multiple conditions. For example, use if, if, else, and so on. Here it's very easy to understand. If the value of variable animal equals tiger, and then a tiger is dangerous, will be printed out. If it equals line, and then a line is dangerous, will be printed out. If animal has some other values like horse, which was defined in our previous slide, you will see that we are lucky there's neither a tiger nor a lion. And also you can have loops in your bash script. And for example, you can use the so-called for loop from bash to let one variable to iterate through all the possibilities through tiger, lion, horse, cat. So how does it work? It works like you have a variable animal, and then this variable will take the value after in, after in there is a list like tiger, lion, horse, cat. Will take one value from this list from the first one to the last one, and then to print it out. Here, this dollar animal prints out the value from tiger and then continues. As you can see here is this output. In this way, you can utilize loop in your shell script. Of course, there are other loops, for example, while loop in bash, but we will not cover this in this introductory course. And you can also define functions. So a function in a shell is just a very convenient way to group, let's say, some commands or some applications or some statement, conditions, whatever, in one function, so that you can reuse this all those commands very conveniently. you needn't to write everything repeatedly, like repeat one statement 10 times. You can put those very frequently used commands into a function, and then you only need to invoke this function. Here, to do this, you use function to define a function, and then curly parentheses to define the function body. Here, the function body contains this echo hello. And then to invoke this function, you only need to put hello, say hello, the name of the function here in your bash script, and then you will see hello will be printed here. And this is gives you the opportunity to make your work run automatically without repeatedly, to repeat many commands. And also, you can utilize the command line argument passed to your shell script, and then to give more flexibility to your shell script. For example, here you can use $1 to represent the first argument, $2 to represent the second argument, and so on. And then when you execute this script, for example, here, bash script name and then hello world, you will see that the first argument, $1, will be replaced by hello, and $2 will be replaced by world. If you have a space in the command line, so for example, you want to group hello world, including this space, as a single command line argument, you can use double quote, and then hello world will be recognized as a single command line argument as $1. So it's not separated. And then you can print out a hello world as a single command line argument, and then the second command line argument is here, really.